Meanwhile, back at the ranch, how much owe you? How many minutes was that?
$10
$10? Charge.
to each person whose time you took.
Oh, that's just an even $100 bill.
Just, I'll divvy it out.
Yeah.
We're ready, Mr. Chairman, when you are.
Working?
It's working on my video here,
Video?
but we'll double check on the web.
Hey, anybody from the public have anything to say? None? We'll move to item number 4.
4, approval of minutes, consideration of approval of the public meeting minutes for April 24th, 2018.
Move to approve.
Any public comment on that? None? Roll call, please.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Vote passes 3-0, 2 absent.
Okay, item number 5.
5, Community and Economic Development Department Planning Division, Infrastructure Financing Plan 2018-3, and Enhanced Infrastructure Financing District Riverstone. A, hearing to consider adoption of a resolution of the Riverstone Public Financing Authority, forming an Enhanced Infrastructure Financing District and approving Infrastructure Financing Plan number 2018-3. B, hearing to consider adoption of a resolution of the Riverstone Public Financing Authority announcing its intent to issue bonds for Enhanced Infrastructure Financing District number 2018-3.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Matt Trieber, Community Economic Development Director here. Also with me is Dale Bacciagalupi with County Council, David Tossig of Tossig and Associates, and Jamie Bax, Senior Planner in my office. We do have a brief PowerPoint presentation for the board's consideration, and then we'll be available for any questions you may have. If we can.
I got one for Caffrey, but I haven't got one for that. The one-
We have copies at the front there that we will get you.
Okay.
So March 27th, 2018, the board approved the creation of the Public Financing Authority. And then on the 24th, that Public Financing Authority, which is made up of yourselves along with Devinder Mahill and Jim Talbert, on April 24th, directed staff to prepare the infrastructure financing plan that is before you today for consideration. The Board of Supervisors, which is a requirement of the legislature, has approved the IFP, and they did that on the June 12th, 2018 date of the Board of Supervisors. Next slide here is just a map outlining and spelling out where these improvements or considered that may or may not be funded within this Enhanced Infrastructure Financing District. As you can see, there is significant improvement south of Avenue 12 on the Highway 41 corridor, as well as improvements within Business Route 41, Avenue 12, and a potential regional sports center within the project boundary as well. Next is just a breakdown of the potential funding allocated to each of those items. $20 million for 41, that's the majority of the funding to see the expansion and build out of that facility there. And just to talk a little bit on the specifics, right, the document before you will be allocating 25% of the tax increment generated from this project over a 45-year term. It's anticipated that the build out, full development build out, is at $2.36 billion. That's in 2018 dollars. which would result, a 25% allocation of that increment results in approximately $66 million over the 45-year term. It's important to note that legally it's a 45-year term subject to a $250 million cumulative limit. Right? It's, as I said, anticipated that this would generate $66 million, but it's important to note that there is a maximum amount of dollars that could be allocated, which is that $250 million. The law does allow for the issuance of bonds, and in order to do that, this action is also before your board today, would be a resolution of intent be adopted by your board prior to issuance of that. I do want to make clear at this time that this is not a general fund obligation bond. This would be simply bonding against that property tax increment. So it does not impact the general fund of the county in any fashion. We are recommending that your board approve the resolution of the Riverstone Public Financing Authority forming the district and approving the Infrastructure Financing Plan 2018-3, as well as a resolution announcing the intent to issue bonds. Also, I want to make clear to the board and the public, this does not impact the tax rate assessment in any fashion of the residents living within the boundaries of this district. The boundaries are within just the Riverstone development lands, does not encompass anything beyond what's entitled as a part of that specific plan project and the 2007 approvals of that project. And further, I did want to call out and note within the resolution of the adoption, we do call out section 15378B4 in the California Environmental Quality Act, that this is not considered a project. I would also call attention to the board and the public under section 15262, we do consider this project to be exempt. And just to expand further on that, no funding from this district will occur on those projects listed below until full environmental clearance is done of those projects. This does not force the PFA board to fund any of these things. It simply is a financing plan and a plan of the utmost degree to just lay out options at that time, but nothing can be funded. It's clearly specified in the resolution for your consideration today of that notion. So I am available for any questions, as is anybody here before you.
Any questions? Yes.
Yeah, so in regards to 5B, the intent to issue bonds, we can't go out and sell bonds at this point in time, right? There's no money in it right now. Is that correct?
That is certainly the marketability of those bonds is not there. David probably will speak better to that than I could.
Let's pay 20-30% on those bonds right now.
Yeah. We can't, nobody would buy them.
Yeah.
That's the problem. We have to actually have 125% coverage, meaning if we needed $1 million a year to support the bonds, we would have to show that we can collect $1.25 million a year in tax increment based on this 25% limitation, and only then can we go out and sell the $1 million worth. So you're really, it's a very conservative program that we can't sell it until you've got the increment. And Dale and I were talking about being retired by the time you sell these bonds. I mean, who knows? It's going to be a while, but they will be able to be sold once the increment is generated.
Is that a certain amount of number of houses, or?
Well, depending on how much, yeah, we ultimately at build out, I believe, one of them is 16 million and the other one's 18 million, but that's how much in bonds can be sold. But that's at build out of this particular community. We'll probably sell before that, maybe halfway through to get 9 million, but that's halfway through build out of Riverstone, which is a lot of units. That could be
Right.
8 years down the line or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And if I could just add
Yes,
a
yeah.
detail to that explanation, and that is the adoption of the resolution of intent begins an election process. You will see this again at probably sometime towards the end of July. The election process involves the property owners within the boundaries of the district. And that election process will then come back to you at the end of that short period of time for you to take a subsequent action. And this resolution today is simply beginning that election process to see if the property owners want to participate. They could vote no. If they vote no, then this will stop. If they vote yes, then that simply opens the door for the potential issuance of bonds at some future date, as David Taussig has mentioned, when and if the tax increment has built sufficiently large to justify servicing indebtedness.
Okay. That answer your question, okay?
Yep.
Any public comment on this? Seeing none? What's your pleasure?
I move to approve item 5A and B.
Roll call, please.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Vote passes 3-0 with 2 absent.
Got it done.
We need to adjourn this meeting.
Sorry, was that a motion on both resolutions?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Covered them both. Okay, so that's covered, so we'll adjourn this meeting. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Dave.
Welcome, sir.
Sure.
All right.
Oh, you gonna go out that way? Tell Max we're ready. What's that? Oh, okay. Go ahead. We'll take 5. Take a minute.